Another one of those hats that you've worn is one that is very interesting to our consumers as well. You own and operate multiple short-term rental homes in various parts of the country. And this is something that so many of our investors are looking to get a little bit more into. I'm curious how you would say you've succeeded and failed in that space.
So short-term rentals, you're talking about what people would typically call a VRBO or VRBO or an Airbnb, correct?
Exactly.
All right. First of all, I think you have to look at location. So we have 3, and they're all in very, very different locations. We have one in Montana, we have one in Florida, and we have one in Elizabeth, Illinois, which is over by Galena. I think the commonality between the 3 of those is that we have over-improved those. And this is something that any investor should probably take into consideration, is that we have over-improved those homes so that I'll ask you the question, they have nicer amenities than our house in certain capacity.
Not true. Anyways, I'm going to back up a second because there's some importances here, right? You live in Chicago.
Right.
You work in Chicago.
Right.
We do real estate in Chicago. Why none of these properties in Chicago?
You can't do it.
Ding, 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 ding. Well, you can, but it's very difficult.
Correct. It's very, very difficult. Those that have the buildings or things like that, they're making money hand over fist. And I think that if these people were, if somebody's interested in, and you know a lot more about this than I do, somebody is interested in owning a building or something like that and short-term renting it out and things, talk to a phenomenal real estate agent. There's one right over here to do so. Chicago, there were too many regulations on those. We went the traditional route with our rental here in Chicago, even though we owned the essentially the townhouse. But we did not see that it was a valuable investment.
Basically what we're saying is that there's a lot of red tape with regards to doing that type of rental within the city limits of Chicago. And with that, it didn't make sense for our strategy. There was too much risk. It's possible, but there's a lot of risk in the way that it's run. And that just, I'm a little risk adverse for certain.
Absolutely. As you just talked about here, it comes down to location. I think the successful short-term rentals come down to location or experience. Sure. And so 2 of ours, Montana and West Palm Beach, Florida, we know that Montana is right outside of Big Sky. So it's skiing. It's not ski in, ski out, but it's close enough. We know there's going to be a yearly,
demand.
Lots of tourism who are coming in both summer and winter, which we took into consideration when purchasing this. The problem with these areas is that you aren't the first person to think of this. Right. And so there is a ton of competition that grows in with this, which means you can't charge a premium as much, or you have to really, really stand out. You have to have something that's really amazing. The Florida, we know that we are, 15 minutes from West Palm Beach. We have a larger home than you would get in West Palm and that type of thing. But there's also the Wellington Equestrian horse show that goes down there every year. So we know that we have a captive audience in there. Sure. So for 4 or 5 months out of the year, we know we have a captive audience. The farm out in Elizabeth, Illinois was kind of a,
He's been waiting to talk about this entire episode, just so we're clear.
I've got pictures. We can just pull out my phone and go through it. But, the farm was kind of, it was kind of call it experiential. We thought, having both been raised in this, like I was raised, we had a farm growing up. You've spent your life around horses, so you had this kind of like classic, low key, out in the country, appreciate nature, quiet, resolve type of thing. You knew what that was.
I call it being a barn rat.
Sure. But, at the same time is that we thought that there were enough people within the limits of Chicago and the surrounding areas that would appreciate being able to go out and do this. Sure. We have seen great success with it. People want to go out. They want to go from Bucktown out to the farm to let their dogs run around. They want to play on a zip line, let their kids swim in a pond, catch a fish, do a campfire, make a s'more. You know how many kids don't know how to make s'mores? It's like tragic. It's literally tragic. But so the location thing or the experience around it is incredibly, incredibly big. The second thing about this, and you'll be able to, back up on this, is you have to be able to assemble a team around it. Your house maintenance / housekeeping team makes or breaks a short-term rental.
1000% best advice if you take anything away. If you're going to get into that realm, having either management or a house cleaner that is exceptional at it is absolutely key.
Well, you bring up the great point. It's like you can do management. The problem is that you're then paying out 25, 30% of your, income, your gross income to this management company who will take care of this. We tend to manage ours on our own. We've assembled three great, or
by we, he means he.
I've assembled to some great housekeepers, a list of people who come out, HVAC systems, things along those lines. The key tip that I would say with that is that just automate whatever you can. Your HVAC cleaning, everything that you would think like, oh, I could do that if I remember it, put it on automated, because you just want to make sure everything is good and everything is first touch is going to be, going to be amazing. The last thing about it is like find a niche to curtail to this. Every one of our places is set up for kids from ages newborn to 14 years old. We've got stuff there. Or at the farm, we've got dog stuff there. So they don't have to take pack and plays. They don't have to take crates. They don't have to take whatever. They can actually go and really enjoy themselves. So if I was going to say location, management, do your due diligence, check in with the local law enforcement or whatever to make sure that it's doable and you're not going to go through a bunch of fines, or in the case of the farm, I
would say maybe the city ordinances, not the law enforcement.
Municipalities, I'm sorry, bad idea.